Hello and welcome to today's review. This time I'm going to be taking a look at the Real Grade Sword Impulse P-Bandai. Okay, and here is most of what you get out of the box for this kit. You do get some extras for the landing gear, and you've got the little rockets which you can equip onto the Core Splendor. So starting off with what you have, you do get these 4 beam sabers which you don't have any actual handles for, so those are just spares you can just keep to one side. You have your Core Splendor unit here with its slight moving gimmick at the back for attaching it to the units on the backpack. You have a special hand for using with the double sword mode, which has got no peg inside of it. You've got your widespread hands, you've got 2 fist hands, and then you've got your 2 holding hands for the 2 swords, if you want to have them dual wielding. You have got your effects parts for the swords, 2 of those, and for the beam boomerangs you get 2 different effects each. You get a long blade and your shorter blade. So here we have just a small comparison between the Force Impulse, the Sword Impulse in Real Grades, and the Sword Impulse in High Grade. So there you can just see the differences between them there. Okay, and now I'm going to go and have a little look at some of the articulation. So I'm just going to remove the backpack and the weapons and we'll go from there. Okay, so let's just start off at the top with the head. So you have your movement back, all the way forward. No real side to side on this one, not too much, but the head will spin all the way around. On the front here you have the armor section here with the 2 Vulcans that can come up for part of the transformation into its little flight form that it has. And you do have a small opening cockpit just inside here as well. On the backpack, that is just the Core Splendor that fits in. This can just fold out. See a few of the moving parts here for the just like that, when it's going into its flight mode, and folds back in. So with the arms, these can pull out slightly, just on a hinge here, and go back in. You can use that just to get some more movement. The shoulders, these are a little bit just like on the Force Impulse, they're slightly different than most Gunpla. So it's got like a little hinge on here, then these, let's just come off again. Yeah, so on here these sections of the sides of the side of the shoulders move independently. So when you're just posing it, you just want to make sure you get it lined up. Then you have all the way up, so it does get quite high, and that's with it just being pulled out just only slightly. So when it's pushed back in, you still get all of that up to about there, so it's still quite a bit of height on there. So then you can just make sure that's popped back in, and on the arm, for the top of the arm, there is rotation at the top. You have your elbow bend, just like that, so it's not too bad at all. And then on the arm again you have another 360 motion there, and then you have your hand, which is just on a normal ball joint, so you can just leave it out slightly to get a little bit more movement, or push it in and it just becomes a little bit more steady. So for the chest, you don't get a lot of movement with the chest at all. It's because it's got the Core Splendor inside there, it does limit its movement, so it's just really spin around, and then the same again the other side. The back of the backpack does tend to catch, so you're not going to get loads of rotation there. And there is a small little joint on the bottom which allows tilt from side to side, and that's on a little hinge at the very in the middle of the unit here. So let's move the arms out of the way. And so on the side skirts you have just a ball joint, so you can just flip that out of the way, and then inside here you have your daggers which are just clipped in, I've just painted, or not painted, but I've just used a chrome pen just to make the blades look a little bit shinier. And then the front skirts, just on a simple ball joint up here, and it's the same on the back. Okay, then on the legs, just move these out of the way. So you've got movement kick up, and your knee bend, which splits out slightly there, and that gives quite a nice bend. You then have your toe out in right there, and the toe will bend all the way back, as that's part for use with its transformation as well. But it does give it a nice look when you've got it posing up in the air. For side to side, it's got a fair amount. The actual armour here moves with it just about as well as you move it, so it's just on a little hinge, a little ball joint up here. Then if that's not enough movement for you on the legs, you can drop the legs down quite a bit, so quite far. It looks a bit strange when it's like this, so you can, but that will then give you a much higher kick. Does get blocked a little bit by the skirting, so just move the leg out slightly. That does go quite a big up and all the way to the back. And then you can just pop the legs back up again. When you use the stand adapter for this one, it's quite good because it just slots in at the bottom here, and then when you do lower the legs down, it just flows inside, so it doesn't obstruct, so you can still get all the extra movement. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the extras. So start off with the rifle. So this is the same rifle you've seen in the Force Impulse, so it does exactly the same thing. You've got your handle which moves back and forth, and the sight which you can move around, and then that's just with the hand clipped on it already. Then you go for the shield, which again, same thing, so it has its little moving gimmick on this one as well, so you can just close it up, pushing these together, and then pushing these two bits back across, and there you go. And then it's got its peg for attaching, and then you've got your little handle which folds out, so you can use that just to grip on with one of the hands if you want to, or you can just leave it flat against like that. So now let's have a look at the sword unit. So if I just take off the beam boomerang section, so there's a little bit of articulation here, so these can fold out and in all the way. Then if you want to remove them, they come off here, and then you've got a choice of effects parts if you want to use. So you have the larger beam section here, or if you want, you can use the smaller beam section as well, like that, and then just pop that back on here again. And then with the swords on the backpack, so you have, start with, you have this thruster unit here which moves up and down, and then on the sword you have a ball joint here and then another ball joint here. So it's quite simple, and the swords are actually attached onto a little plate which clips in, so let's take that off. And so inside the sword you've got a small hole here, and it's just a peg inside here, and they just clip together. Just remove these. So for these you have your effects parts. So you have one with two pegs at the top and a small peg just at the base of it, so you just slot that in, and then these just plug into the top, and there's first sword, and I'll just do the second one, and there you go, second sword. And then with these you can just attach them together, so you've just got a peg and a hole on either side, and just plug them in, and that's it. Yep, so here's with the backpack attached. And so if you want to attach the shield as well, as I said when I looked at it, you've got the small peg, and that just fits on the forearm here. And there you have shield attached. And for the beam rifle, just pop out one of the hands, and as I've got it pre-attached with the rifle firing hand. There you have it with its beam rifle and shield loadout. And then if you want to equip the swords, just pop the hands out there, pop the shield off to make it easier, and the hand here, and then just pop the swords off. And then to equip the hands onto the swords themselves, it's quite simple. You've just got a peg inside, clip that in one side, and then sandwich the hand back on there. There's one sword, and then just the second one, exactly the same thing. You can actually, when you've joined them together, you can then attach them using the other hand, which is just a hand without a peg inside, and that one you can then just, when you equip the swords together, you can then just use that one to hold on to the weapon as well. And it'll look a bit something like this. But just move this around, so in here the hand can move freely up and down here because there is no peg inside there, and so that just means you can just equip it one side, then just you got a bit of wiggle room just for how you position this one. And here we have him equipped with the beam boomerang with the long blade attached. So for this, it just uses the same hand as you would for the swords. So it's just a peg which fits in, and then just simply just sandwich them together, and there you go. And because this is using the same backpack mounting, you can equip it with the Force Impulse backpack as well. Mine currently hasn't been top coated, so it does look a little bit shinier than the rest of the kit. So here are a few of my thoughts on this kit. It's a really solid build, just like you'd expect for most of the modern Railgrades. The extra parts you get in this compared to the Force Impulse are brilliant, nicely detailed. The backpack and the beam boomerang look amazing with this one. The swords are really nice and nice effects parts to go along with it. There's no issues that I've spotted with this kit out of the box. There are some ball joints which you might want to tighten up over time, but other than that, definitely recommend this kit. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this review, and hope to see you next time. Thank you.